All right, in our first lesson for stem and leaf plots, we're just looking to organize data, and the purpose of the stem and leaf plots is to just take the information that you were given on your data sheet and organize it so that it's easier for you to use for later activities. For instance, histograms or even frequency tables or things like that. So in this example, we have raffle tickets that are sold, and an example of a stem and leaf plot is to take the stem, which is the tens or hundreds group, and split it up amongst the leaves, which are the ones group. Now, the way we identify what this means is through a key. So for instance, the key that you're going to provide in your data would say something like the 5, and then this dash right here represents the bar between the stem and the leaf, and then a 1. And that represents the number 51. So the reason that this can become helpful is because instead of listing all these numbers in a big long list all the way down your page, you can then just take them and list them across, because you have a couple of 66s and then a 68 and a 69, and they all become in one row. So it's easy and convenient to look at them. You're also able to analyze the data. So taking the same raffle tickets example, what was the least number of tickets sold? Well, if you look up the stem and leaf plot, 8 would represent the number 80, and 4 would represent the number 40. So the 4 and the 0 would represent the lowest amount, and so your answer would be 40. Answer the next two questions on your own. So the greatest number of tickets sold, as we said, is the 8 represents 80. Therefore, it's not just 80, but the highest digit in 80 would be the 8 and the 4, representing the number 84. In which interval were most tickets sold? Using the word interval, interval would mean which group of tens would be the most tickets sold. If you line them up correctly in these rows, you can see that the 60s have 5 numbers in it. Therefore, 60 to 69 would be the most sold. Hit pause and answer the questions that you see on the screen. How many students sold 66 tickets? The answer should be 3. How many students sold over 70 tickets? So here's your 7. So you would count from 7, and you see 4 in the 70s column and 3 in the 80s column. Therefore, your answer should be 7. How many students sold tickets? You would count up all the leaves, and your total amount would be 15. How many tickets did they sell? This is a tricky question because a lot of people just add up the leaves and forget that the stems also represent that number of things. So therefore, the 0 isn't just 0, it's 40. So you would have to add 40 plus 51 plus 55 all the way up to numbers 84, and you would have found that they had a total of 1,022 tickets. How do we create a stem and leaf plot? Well, an unordered stem and leaf plot would simply be taking your list and writing them down with the stem and the leaf and filling in rows. In this case, to do this, we can actually order them like you did today from least to greatest. And as we do that, we see 10, then 12, and so on. And once you have them in order, you can create your stems and your leaves. Here is your answer for the stem and leaf plot as it should have been appearing. The 1, 0, 2, and 5 represents 10, 12, and 15. The 2 represents 21 and 22. And the 3 represents 33, 34, 34, and 35. Notice that because we have two 34s, we write the 4 twice. What I'd like you to do is hit pause and answer question 1 by creating the stem and leaf plot for question number 1. Using the stem and leaf plot that we created from the hours spent on homework, we have a question that says, what is the least amount of time spent on homework? You should have selected the answer, 10. How many students spent over 30 hours on homework per week? Looking at the chart, we have 4 in the 30s, therefore you should have said 4. What was the most time spent on homework? The largest number, 35. And on average, what fraction of the day did the student spend on homework? 35 hours per week. How many hours are there in 7 days? 5 out of 24. If you divide 35 by 7 days a week and 24 hours in that one day, therefore 35 divided by 7 gives you the 5 days, 5 hours per day. The rest of your job today is to answer a few questions on your worksheet. You should be doing questions 10 and 11 on your worksheet. Bring that into class. So you should have completed question 1, 10, and 11 for homework tonight, and you bring them into class tomorrow for credit. Aren't you glad that you watched the video and you don't have to do all 11?